In this edition of INN CEO Talks, I'm joined by Ramon Barua Costa, the CEO and director of Aclara Resources, and we're talking about critical earths, particularly in South America. Ramon, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Stuart. A pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, and likewise, because this is an area of development that is essential to the electrification of transportation and so many other elements of our lives. Without these critical rare earths, we won't be able to move to green energy. Tell me about your company and your strategy towards the development of these rare earths in Chile.
Thank you. Absolutely. Look, I fully agree with what you have just said. No, we're clearly entering an electric revolution that will require an enormous amount of electric vehicles, wind turbines, and other electric applications. These applications, in order to make them much more efficient, we will need rare earths. The problem is that the supply chain of these elements is highly concentrated in China, as we know, no, and not necessarily following the environmental standards that we would want in order to feed our technologies. So we have exponential demand coming up in electric vehicles and others. And the supply is not only constrained but it's also quite limited. No? When you look at projects that could be available in the rest of the world to supply these elements, you will not find many. No, so we believe that there's a important market opportunity. Pricing is likely to improve on these elements as more people start purchasing electric vehicles. So that there's where we saw a business opportunity. We wanted to be part of that trend, but at the same time, we're also seeing that consumers are looking for minerals sources that are traceable, that are clean, and that are sustainable. No, and when you look at rare earths, the first thing that comes up is that it's not easy to obtain them. Rare earths are not rare. Important to mention this, but most of the deposits that exist in the world will require a lot of energy, a lot of water, a lot of acid, and a lot of capital in order to extract them. And in the process, you will generate radioactivity. So it's not an easy business. Having said that, the deposit that we have found in Chile, it's a deposit that is known as an ionic clay. And these ionic clays, Stuart, have three distinctive characteristics. The first one is that the extraction of the rare earths can happen with a very simple process. Basically, you mix the clays with water and with a fertilizer, very common, which is ammonium sulfate, and you're able to extract the rare earths. So very clean and very simple. The second advantage is people are not necessarily very familiar with this, but rare earth elements are 17 different elements, and not all of them are as important as the others. There are some, for example, that sell for $1 a kilo, and there are others that sell for $2,000 a kilo. So you want to have the concentration of the right rare earths in your deposit, and that is exactly what we have in our ionic clay deposit in Chile. And the third crucial element, I would say, is that we do not have to deal with radioactivity, no? And that makes it environmentally very clean and simplifies the mining and the processing quite substantially.
So what stage are you at right now with your project? Are you, have you, I guess two things. Have you proven out the resource and are you moving towards production?
Yes, sir. Yes, we needed to, these ionic clays only exist in China right now in terms of any country which is producing based on these deposits. Now China has moved also into Myanmar on the southern Chinese border. But outside of China, apart from us, there is a project also in Brazil, and there is a project in Uganda, and then it's us. So there are not many. So I'm giving you this context because we need to create everything from scratch. Very recently, we announced to the market that we had completed our flow sheet. We have done that with the help of several universities, especially the University of Toronto and the University of Concepcion in Chile. So that process is now closed, and we're moving into piloting. I saw some pictures today that were shared by the team about the equipment being put together. We will have a pilot plant up and running in the second quarter of next year. And in terms of resources, the PA that we published, 43101 compliant, the one that we used for the IPO in December, had already measured and indicated resources. And we have announced also to the market some additional drill holes that came in earlier this year, and we're preparing an updated resource that should come to the market in the next few weeks. Now, if you allow me, the beauty of, I think we have a process, Stuart, that listen to what I'm going to say, no mining company has in the world, okay? Why am I so sure? We are going to extract the clays without using explosives. So to reduce, the amount of noise and dust is going to be quite limited. Second, in mining companies, the largest carbon emissions come from crushing and milling. We do not have any crushing and milling in Aclara, no? So the amount of energy consumed is also very little. Then we have come up with a process that recirculates water with an efficiency of 95%. And the fertilizer that I mentioned, the ammonium sulfate, we're recycling at 99%. And what this allows us is to have no liquid or solid residue. Hence, we will have no tailings dam. The only outflow of the process of the plant is going to be the final product, and then let's call it the spent clays. These clays, we will wash them with the recycled water, and we will put them back again as much as possible into the pits or the quarries where we took it, no, from where we took the clays, and we're going to revegetate those areas. We're committing to that with native species, no. We're putting these areas then in an independent foundation, so to create this conservation park that will stay there for posterity.
Wow. Okay. So how close are you to being able to start to produce product and get it to market?
Yes, thank you. So next year, we're going to be finishing the feasibility study. In parallel, we're asking the Chilean authorities for the environmental permit, which is the most important permit of all. And if everything goes according to plan, we're hoping to be in production on the first day of 2026.
How are you situated for money to be able to move forward and start producing your product?
We have a very strong balance sheet. Last year in December, we completed an IPO in the TSX where we raised $100 million. Of course, we have invested a significant amount of that money, but we still have more than $70 million. So I think we're in pretty good shape to complete the piloting, the feasibility. We're also moving ahead with exploration. We have a very large concession package, and what I am describing is just what we call module 1. So the idea is to eventually put more modules. We do not have enough capital to build a plant. This will require $130 million, 130, but we are in very good shape to put the company in a position where we believe financing will be achievable. No, part of the reasons behind the pilot plant that again is going to be in production around during the half of next year is to produce samples that are going to be used to secure offtakes that will also help with financing.
Are you looking to also partner with other potential majors, or do you foresee that you really are committed to building out the site on your own?
No, we're committed to doing it on our own. We try to take an approach that more than as a mining company, we're trying to figure how to integrate further in the value chain of magnets. You know, the rare earths main application, four of them, neodymium, praseodymium, and dysprosium and terbium, are permanent magnets. And we believe that the key to us is to understand how we can incorporate Aclara with other value-added steps in the value chain, so to provide OEMs, automakers, wind turbine constructors, with the magnets that they require in order to make the transition to electric possible.
Okay, so investors are looking at you right now saying, why should I be investing now? What's your message to them?
Look, I think right now is the right time. After the IPO, our stock price has done not great, to say the least. No, I think that there are many reasons for that. The most important one is the company that originally had this deposit that we acquired had already started with they filed an environmental permit that we tried to use, but eventually needed to take back. Right now, we're going to refile that permit in the second quarter of next year. I think it's going to be a very, very solid document, and it's all upside from there. No, as I mentioned, the process is very solid. I can tell you that there is a lot of interest from the market to ensure the supply of these critical minerals. And finally, we told the market at the time of the IPO that we were going to grow. I can tell you that we are also spending significant money in putting drill holes, not only in our first module, but trying to find other modules. And we're progressing on that. I think that is going to be important news for the market also during 2023. So, look, if we look at the medium term and we look 1 year ahead, this company could have a pilot plant up and running with very advanced conversations with potential off-takers. We will have a feasibility, again, 43101 compliant. We can have more resources in Penco, and we could be talking already about, a quite advanced geological situation for a new module, no? So next year is going to be quite exciting for us. And the stock price right now, we are trading at a market cap that is below an enterprise value that is below the cash that we have on hand. No, I told you we have a little bit more than $70 million, and our market cap is $35-40 million. So there's very little to lose.
Very interesting time to be looking at Aclara Resources, and I'm sure that you're going to have news along the way. I hope that you'll come back and update viewers as you get those results in.
Thank you, Stuart. We will definitely do so.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Stuart.